Hello everyone, how's you? I hope you all are doing well. So today we will discuss about the scientific techniques by F.W. Taylor. Till now we have discussed about the principles given by Henry Fayol, the principles of management given by F.W. Taylor, and I told you in my previous videos also that F.W. Taylor has given principle as well as certain techniques also. So today we will discuss about those techniques which are given by F.W. Taylor. So first technique which is given by F.W. Taylor is functional foremanship. Functional foremanship is an extension of one of the principle which is given by Henry Fayol, that is division of work. So what I taught you in division of work, that according to Henry Fayol, he said that whatever the work is there in the organization, we have to divide the whole work into small units. Is it clear? And give the work to each and every person according to the qualification and skills of the workers. Just like that, in the technique which is given by F.W. Taylor, the functional foremanship take place on the factory level. Is it clear? Where the manufacturing unit is there. Factory is the place where the manufacturing takes place. So this functional foremanship take place on the factory level, and the factory level is divided into two parts, that is planning department and production department. Means the factory level is divided into two departments, that is planning department and production department. In planning department there are four bosses, that is route clerk, time and cost clerk, instruction card clerk and disciplinarian. In production department there are also four bosses, that is gang boss, speed boss, repair and maintenance boss and inspector. Clear? So they all perform their separate function. In planning department they always do the planning in the department only. The only work of this department or of this in charge is to plan for the overall work, and this production department execute the job which is designed by this planning department. Clear? So in planning department, first clerk is route clerk. So the function of route clerk is to decide that what work in the organization will done by manually or by machines. Clear? So route clerk decide which work will be done manually or by machines. Time and cost clerk, this clerk design the cost sheet, how much cost will be incurred to do a particular production and how much time will be taken. In instruction card clerk, he designed the journal instructions and guidelines to the workers while doing the job. In discipline, this is disciplinarian, this clerk decide journal rules and regulation which every worker of the organization have to follow. Now in production department there are also four bosses, that is gang boss, speed boss, repair and maintenance boss and inspector. In gang boss, what route clerk is doing over here, he decide that which work will be done manually or by machines. Now it's time for the gang boss to decide to arrange the machines, tools and other equipments which is required by the workers according to the route clerk. Second one is speed boss. Speed boss always take care of the speed of the work, as time and cost clerk designed certain specific time to complete the work, so it is a responsibility of the speed boss to take care of that time and cost. Next one is repair and maintenance boss. As we know that when production take place, then wear and tear will take place obviously, and when wear and tear will take place in the organization, then there should be some repair and maintenance boss to take care of the machineries. And the last one is inspector. Inspector always check whether the goods are produced according to the standard quality or not, which is prescribed by the instruction card clerk. What is the work of instruction card clerk? He generally give the instruction to the workers to do a particular job. So we can say that each and every clerk and boss have their individual function, and a worker should have to follow all the instructions and guidelines of each and every clerk and boss. So we can say that there are 8 bosses on a single worker. 8 bosses on a worker. But what I told you in Henry Fayol's principle, that is unity of command, principle of unity of command, in that principle there should be only one head, one boss, because more than one bosses can create confusion in the mind of the workers. But here this is the demand of the factory that there should be 8 bosses on a worker. So this principle, sometimes the question can be asked in your board examination like that, कि which principle which technique of F.W. Taylor is matched with one of the principle of Henry Fayol. Then we can say that it is functional foremanship which is matched with division of work. Is it clear? And the question can be asked in this manner also, which principle, which technique of F.W. Taylor is not matched with one of the principle of Henry Fayol, that is that is unity of command. So the answer should be functional foremanship, because here there are 8 bosses on a worker. Clear to all? So this is the first technique which is given by F.W. Taylor, that is all the work should be divided into small departments, and the small departments can give us the specialization of the work. Second thing is, the planning department will take place in one department, and the execution of the job will take place in the another department. Now we come to the second technique, that is work study. In work study we have to cover method study. Next is fatigue study. It's E. Fatigue study. Motion study. And next one is time study. So the second technique of F.W. Taylor is work study. In this we have to go through the 4 study, that is method study, fatigue study, motion study and time study. So first of all we will discuss about the first study, that is method study. In method study, according to Henry Fayol, according to F.W. Taylor, he said that we have to choose the best method so that it can reduce the cost of production, and with the minimum input we can get maximum production, we can get maximum output. So in method study, the best method should be chosen by the foreman or who one else is taking care of that. So best method should be taken care so that it can reduce the cost of production and helps to increase the production with limited investment or with limited raw materials. Is it clear to all? As we know that there are number of methods to do a particular thing, but that method will be good for your organization which is understood by your worker. Second thing is which help to reduce the cost of production in the organization. So that method should be selected by the organization which helps to cut down our cost of production and helps to increase the cost of production, increase the production by minimum input. Is it clear? Second study is fatigue study. What is the meaning of fatigue? Fatigue means tired. Clear? While doing a job, continuously while doing a particular job, we get tired, isn't it? Like you are a student, after food period, your school will give you recess time. Why your school is providing recess to you? Because to do the work continuously, it can make us bored or tired, and a tired body can't achieve the goal. Clear? So in fatigue study, it is a responsibility of the organization to provide frequent intervals to the employees. If we provide frequent intervals to our employees, then they can feel refreshed and your goal will be accomplished. Your goal will be accomplished. Clear to all? So every organization should do the study in fatigue also, that you have to see, first of all you will have to keep a watch on the activities of the employees or the workers, whether the workers are feeling tired or not, or after how much time they get tired. Then when you feel that your workers are feeling tired, then you should provide the intervals to them so that they can refresh their body, and again with the fresh body, with the fresh brain, they can utilize their efforts and helps to accomplish the goal. Next one is motion study. Motion means body movements. Here motion means body movements. We are talking about the body movements. So these body movements, we are talking about the body movements. The main motive of motion study to eliminate unproductive body movements. For example, when we see in any organization, we see number of employees are doing wasteful efforts, wasteful body activities. Like I have given you any work to do in a particular time, then if a worker is doing the activities, is moving their body parts for the necessary things, for the necessary phenomenon, then we can say that the body movements are productive. Clear? But if you are just wandering here and there just like that, you are walking here and there just like that only, then we can say that these body movements is not giving anything, to the production, I can say. So motion study means here there are certain body movements of the workers which should be eliminated, and these body movements are unproductive. We have to consider the productive body movements, but we have to eliminate the unproductive body movements. Is it clear? For example, the workers are doing in a factory place, and from the factory place the raw material and the tool boxes are far away from you. So it is a wasteful activity that the workers are moving one by one to the raw material side, to the place where raw material are there. It is the responsibility of the foreman to provide the toolbox, the raw material at the factory place, near the workers, so that these body movements can be eliminated. These are the unproductive body movements. Clear to all? So in motion study, we should have to take care of the body movements of the workers. We can watch the workers by cameras also, as you know that, as we see number of times in factories also, that the cameras are spotted over there, and they always keep a watch on each and every activities of the workers, what they are doing, what they are not doing. If your body movements are means productive, then it is considered. But if the body movements are unproductive and these are the wasteful activities of the body, then we can say that these body movements should be eliminated. Clear to all? Next one is time study. In time study, there should be some standard time. Standard time to complete a work. Means there are a number of type of the workers in the organization. The average worker, a worker who can do the work with a very high speed, a lethargic body worker, I can say. So every type of worker are there in the organization. It is a time to tackle with these workers. And how can you, because we have to accomplish our goal on time, so time plays a very important role in any organization. So according to F.W. Taylor, he says that a standard time should be there in the organization to complete a task. And how can you maintain that standard time? How can you make a time that is standard for all? You can have a stopwatch with you. I hope you all have seen the stopwatch. You should have a stopwatch with you and see the activities of the worker. You should give a particular work to each and every worker and have a stopwatch with you and see how many workers are completed their work, how many number, means the maximum number of employees are doing the work completed in a particular or in a stipulated time. That time should be designed, that time should be considered as a standard time. Is it clear? So time study is very important. A manager or a foreman should take care of the time. A standard time should be designed. A standard time should be there in every organization to complete a task, and that standard time can be maintained by having a stopwatch with you and give a particular task to each and every employee and take care whether they are doing the work according to the given time or not. Is it clear? So time studies should also be considered. So I can say that this work study comprises these four. In work study, we have to study about method, fatigue, motion and time study. In method study, we have to select the best method, which method is best for the organization, which help to reduce the cost of production and increase the production with minimum input. Fatigue study, we have to give the frequent intervals to our employees so that they can feel refreshed and the goal can be accomplished. Next is motion study. We have to eliminate the unproductive body movements and consider the productive body movements. Next one is time study. We have to maintain a standard time to all the employees so that the work can be established, can be completed or accomplished within the stipulated time. So this is the second technique which is given by F.W. Taylor. Next technique is, third technique is differential piece wage system. Differential means different, piece wage system, you people know that. According to F.W. Taylor, he said that the worker who are producing that much amount of pieces, means we have to provide the wages according to the pieces produced by these employees. For example, A and B are two workers in the same organization and are doing the same work. They are indulged in stitching of shirts. Is it clear? A stitches 10 shirts in a day, whereas B stitches 20 shirts in a day. Clear? And for a one piece, they will get 1 rupee. Clear? Then in a single day, A earns 10 rupees and B earns 20 rupees. So according to F.W. Taylor, he said that we have to provide the wages according to the pieces produced by the workers. The worker who is producing the maximum amount of pieces, he should be awarded by, or he should be given maximum wages, and the worker who is producing less number of pieces in a day, then he should be awarded, or he should be given the less number of wages. So what will happen by this? By this, that worker will be self motivated, and by this also we can eliminate the inefficient workers, and we can find out which worker is efficient and which worker is inefficient. Is it clear? Second one is, if A will see that B is taking 20 rupees per day as wages and I am having only 10 rupees, then I can also produce 20 shirts in a day, isn't it? So he will be self motivated by seeing the B, and he will also start to stitch more shirts. Is it clear? So differential piece waste system, according to this technique, Taylor suggests that the worker or the employee who is producing that much amount of pieces, he should be given that much amount of wages, by which the workers can be self motivated, and we can find out which worker is more efficient and which worker is inefficient. Is it clear? So this is the third technique given by F.W. Taylor. Next one is standardization. Standardization and simplification of work. According to this technique, means we have to maintain certain standard in the organization. Standard I should. So in this we can say that in a standardization, the we have to take care of the standard of the product. Standardization of the product means the raw material, what we are using, the raw material, it should be of standard quality, isn't it? If your raw material is of standard quality, then definitely you can capture a good market share. Second one is simplification of the work. We have to simplify our work more and more, isn't it? If your organization is dealing in 200 varieties, then the main motive of simplification of the work is to eliminate the unwanted varieties, the unwanted size, unwanted dimensions of the product. If you are dealing in 2000 product and the quality of the product is not good, then you can deduct the varieties up to 200, but it should be of standard quality. So we can say that F.W. Taylor believes in the standardization and simplification of the work. Your product should be of standard quality. If whatever the raw material you are using, it should be of standard quality. Next one is mental revolution. In mental revolution, we have studied mental revolution number of times in Henry Fayol's principles, in F.W. Taylor principle, that is management and workers. There are two groups of management and workers, and both are rivals to each other. So according to F.W. Taylor, he said that there should be a mutual understanding between both of them so that the organization can accomplish the target. So these are the 5 techniques which is given by F.W. Taylor. First one is functional foremanship. It is the extension of division of work and is a criticism of the principle of unity of command, that is 8 bosses on a worker. In work study, we have to go through method study, fatigue study, motion study and time study. In method study, the best method should be selected so that the cost of production can be decreased by increasing the production with minimum input. In fatigue study, we have to provide the frequent intervals so that our employees can be feel refreshed and the goal can be accomplished on time. In motion study, we have to eliminate the unproductive body movements. In time study, the standard time should be maintained in the organization, and you can do it by having the stopwatch with you. In differential piece waste system, we have to provide the wages according to the pieces produced by the different individual. This principle is a criticism of one of the this technique is the criticism of one of the principle given by Henry Fayol, that is principle of remuneration. According to principle of remuneration, he said that we have to provide the remuneration according to the means the workers who are working on the same level should provide the same salaries. But here what F.W. Taylor is saying, the worker who are producing that much amount of piece should provide or should awarded by that much amount of wages. So this is the criticism of principle of remuneration and standardization and simplification of work. In this we have to use the standard quality of raw material and each and everything, so that the quality can be good of your product, and we have to make the work more and more simpler. But first of all we have to take care of the quality of the product. And in mental revolution, two groups, managers group and worker groups, both should have mutual understanding between both of them. So today this is enough for you.